Doctor, I'm sorry to interrupt. What type of procedure are you performing today?
This is an endoscopic sinus surgery.
I see. And what exactly is that?
This is the type of surgery we would do for people with chronic sinusitis, inflammation in the sinuses. You want to take a try?
Me?
That's right.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Of course. I think it would be a great learning opportunity for you.
Are we insured for this? Okay.
You can go ahead and take that. You can just use this camera.
So what goes in first, the camera?
Put that in first. There you go.
How should I hold it? Okay.
Yep.
I'm going in.
Don't worry, this is not a real patient. This is just a sinus model, and this is how we learn how to do sinus surgery when we're training our students and residents.
I mean, this is extraordinary. This looks realistic.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm inside a real nose.
It does, and that is what makes for really good training, when people feel like they're seeing what would really be inside of a person that they're operating on, and it feels the same way that it would when they're operating on a person.
Does it really?
Mm-hmm.
So this simulates a real nose?
As best as anything else we have right now, That's right.
Even a football player plays a game on a Saturday, but he trains 6 days a week. And I think I can relate that back to the medical sector and surgeons in particular, where they have a complex, multifaceted surgical case. You know, they want to rehearse before the big game. Fuse Tech's goal or our mission, our purpose, is to solve a surgical training problem in the market.
Okay, let's talk about the problem. One of the key ways that surgeons practice their craft is by working with cadavers, generous people who have donated their bodies to medical science. Now, stick with me and I'll be as delicate as I can. The logistics of this industry are complicated. Think about it. A hand surgeon, they need a hand. An orthopedic surgeon, they'll need a hip. And a sinus surgeon, well, they'll need a head. There's challenges. Transportation, storage and preservation are all issues to overcome, not to mention the emotional impact on trainee surgeons. After all, they're people too. What Mark's doing is to positively disrupt the entire industry.
Should I remove this fleshy-looking part here?
No, you should not. That's a very good, normal, nice part of the anatomy.
I'll avoid that.
You can get this part there.
Ooh.
There you go.
Oh, here it comes. Yay,
Very
yay,
good.
yay. That must feel better.
In this particular cassette, we have a sinus disease. For this particular one, if we wanted to take this one out and then use this one, this particular one has a tumor that I can go and show a resident or a fellow how to address.
Mark, you must be very excited. Do you pinch yourself? I mean, we're here in California in a leading facility and you're at the cutting edge of surgery.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
No pun intended.
So, it is absolutely amazing. You know, it's been a wild ride the last 2 years.
This is the epicenter of innovation. This is where the great universities are, the big medical device companies. This is a great place to launch my business.
And Mark, you have been very successful in all of your business ventures. What's the thread? What's the consistent magic that you have?
Well, I think I'm a little bit like a dog with a bone. I get on an idea, I get on an innovation, I just have to keep going with it. You know, I'm not going to die wondering what if. So everything I do has to be the best. So what I do is I just get the best team, the best people, the education, the right attitude. I surround myself by them and then I empower them and set them free. So it's really my team that does everything.
I was introduced to advanced manufacturing and it became an embryonic thought in my mind that was like an addiction. I just couldn't let go of it. I considered servicing the defence industry, I considered servicing the aerospace industry. I decided on serving the medical industry as I felt that to me to be a greater good.
So Mark, this venture isn't your first business, is it?
No, mate, no. I've had a couple of businesses prior to this point.
Tell us about those.
Well, my first company I founded was a print company in 1991. We quickly evolved to the high end of the market, you know, the corporate 500s. By the time 2000 came around, you know, manufacturing was not the sector to be in, so I decided it was time to sell up, so I did.
So you're 38. What happened next?
I ended up on a remote island in Fiji, bought 2 books on how to build a house and bought the tools and went and built a house, mate. It was great.
You literally built it yourself?
Yeah, literally built it myself, yeah. Living on the remote island, you know, we had a ferry supposed to be at our island once a week where we get our food and building products. It was always broken down, mate, so we'd go 3 months without any building materials on site. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to buy a ferry and build a reliable shipping service in Fiji.
That's a special person to found a print business, sell that, you build a house, and then you start a ferry company. So what happened to the ferry business?
Oh, look, the ferry business was just booming along. We ended up with 3 ships, a couple of hundred employees, and then disaster struck. Cyclone Gale, we affectionately call it.
I hadn't heard of Cyclone Gale. Did you lose some ships?
One could arguably say that, yes. Cyclone Gale, well, Gale was my former wife, mate.
I see.
She's seen greener pastures and moved on. Probably before that moment in my life, I was very self-confident. Everything I touched turned to gold. And from that point on, you know, my mindset wasn't right and everything I touched was just a disaster. So 2 years later, it was pretty much all over.
A broken heart can do it. I've been there.
Yeah. You have
It affects everything. Were you angry?
Yes, for sure.
Resentful?
Yeah, you know, my life as I knew it at the time was stolen from me. You know, I lost my wife, I lost my children, I lost my house, I lost my business. You know, I had to, you know, regroup as a person.
How did you start your new business?
Well, you know, once we closed down the shipping company, it was time to come home, back to Australia. And it didn't take long before I was introduced to advanced manufacturing. So we started looking at 3D printers.
So, 3D printing was something that he wanted to explore further, and that brought him to unexpected places. Here in America, in Minneapolis to be precise, was where Mark had his light bulb moment. Mark, it's the middle of winter, Minneapolis, it's cold. What are we doing here, mate?
Well, this is the epicenter of 3D printing in the world. So
Is it
I thought,
really?
so I thought I'd bring you along. This is, if you want to manufacture, you know, human body parts, replications, this is where you want to be.
Okay, so this was really your eureka moment.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I ended up buying the equipment here 3 years ago, so here we are again today.
Well, it's starting to snow. Should we take a peek?
Yeah, mate, let's go.
Let's do it, come on.
Shit.
Yeah, mate, good to see you. Good to see you.
So Evan, this looks like your production line.
That is correct. This is our production lab. We have over 24 systems running 24/7 in here.
And what are you making here?
So we make anything from automotive taillights to aerospace and aircraft interiors. We have a lot of confidential customers. We work globally with aerospace, automotive manufacturers, and even into med tech. I love working with individuals like Mark. It's so cool to see somebody who thinks so outside the box.
So this is what got you excited.
Yes, mate, yep. Bought one of these 3 years ago, and this is advanced manufacturing at its best.
It's a big printer.
Yeah, effectively, it's a printer on steroids.
Can we take a look inside?
Sure, mate.
What are we printing?
At the moment, they're printing 5 replication hearts.
Human hearts.
Yeah, human hearts, mate, for surgical training.
And what are these used for?
Well, surgeons need to train as well, so it's better to dissect one of these than a real heart. It's also used by medical device companies to practice their instruments, and, you know, there's a big demand for this in the market.
So the data comes from you.
Well, the data originally starts from a CT or an MRI of a real patient. We send it to a computer, and then we manufacture. And look, this is one that's just come out of the machine. This is the vertebrae in the neck region. This is great for surgeons. You know, they can cut it, they can drill it, they can put screws into it. This one here looks like an aorta, which is the top of the human heart. Feel the softness in the material.
That's a valve.
Yeah, that's a heart valve, mate. So you can feel the softness in the material,
Yeah.
and that's what this is all about, the multi-materials. 3 years ago, I seen this technology and I just said, wow, I really want this, but I just didn't know what to do with it. So, I had the technology, now I had to find the problem that I wanted to solve.
So this for me is fascinating because usually a designer or an innovator would start with a problem and then find the solution. What I think I'm hearing is that you found a solution and then went seeking a problem.
Well, I must admit it is a little bit backwards and a little bit awkward, but every business has their own journey. I seen this technology and I just loved it. I was addicted to it, and then I literally spent a year, on my journey trying to find that problem to solve.
So we have 40 surgeons, the biggest course ever run in the world, all doing sinus surgical dissections. But these models are actual patients. These are not just fabricated anatomy. And so when they finish doing the dissections, we take them and we show them the actual video of what that patient's surgery looked like at the time that I did the surgery on that particular patient.
So what would you do to train before Mark was on the scene?
Well, before we had the availability of 3D printed models, it was all cadaver courses.
So I guess we couldn't film here back in the day when you would use cadavers.
Absolutely not. So there's all patients who had donated their bodies to science. There's privacy issues, no filming, no cameras allowed in the cadaver dissection lab during a cadaver course.
And I guess this is helping your industry become somewhat more transparent, perhaps?
Well, it is.
Demystifying what you do?
It is. So, we can actually show people how we train. It's a little bit like likening us to pilots training. So pilots have simulators. They're put into that emergency situation where they are simulating those sort of emergencies on a day-to-day basis. They have specific simulation courses they've got to complete each year to keep their training valid and up to date. We're going to do the same thing in surgery. So, we are now able to give all of the surgeons the same pathology. Whereas in the past, we would have a cadaver. The learning that the surgeon can achieve operating a cadaver is not anywhere close to what we can achieve if we can actually produce complexity, difficulty, and disease, which we can in a 3D printed model.
PJ, what do you think of Mark?
Well, Mark's obviously an innovator, so, a risk taker. You have to be to step into a world where nothing's been done before. You have to put everything on the line to get it across the line, and I admire that sort of spirit, to go in and actually invest and put your head on the chopping block, so to speak.
Mark, for this trip, you've got something else cooking, haven't you?
Well, it's a sales mission. I'm meeting a couple of multinationals. In fact, I've got a meeting in about an hour, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, congratulations. What sort of money are you talking about?
Well, over the last few months, the orders have been increasing from tens of thousands to 50. We'd like to sign a contract today for a multi-million-dollar contract.
Wow, this is very exciting. How are you feeling?
Well, a little bit anxious, but, we're confident in our product. The clients have been testing our product in the market, and the conversations are looking good, so we're hoping that today's the day.
So is this your first big sale, the one that's going to put you on the map?
Yeah, this is the make or break moment, so, hope it all goes well, mate.
Good luck.
Thank
Go
you.
forth and sell.
Thanks, buddy.
Sandy,
Hey, hello.
So what's it like to be married to an entrepreneur, to a trailblazer? It must be a roller coaster sometimes.
It can be at times, but that's par for the course.
Tell me about it.
Oh, I don't know. Where do I start? There's a lot of ups and downs, but just you go into it, and I believe in him, and I just know he'll make whatever he gets his heart into, make it happen.
Tell me about a good day. What's excitement look like?
When we get the deal, when we get make a new contact, networking opportunities, the different people he meets.
And how does Mark's work impact on the family life?
Oh, he's always on the go, but we make it work. It's just for the greater good. I just believe in what he's doing.
So today's a tense day. We're waiting to hear hopefully good news.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
Excited. I have no doubt something good will come of it, no matter what.
How do you live with uncertainty?
I don't know. I just go with it. It's part of the ride, part of being an entrepreneur.
I guess what's the alternative?
Yeah, well, what, 9 to 5 job? I don't know, that's just not him.
It doesn't seem like him.
No,
either.
not at all.
Hello, mate.
Oh, g'day, Paul.
How'd
How
it
are you,
go?
mate? How'd I go?
Yeah.
Oh, look, it was good, mate. It was good. Not a champagne moment, but definitely happy to have a drink with you.
Did you sign the deal?
Unfortunately, I didn't, mate.
Oh, sorry to hear that. What happened?
Well, you know, the director I was about to meet, he got called away, he went to San Francisco. So,
How do you get through these moments? Because everything was about today and making that deal, but you haven't quite got it yet.
well, you have no option, do you? You have to push forward, you know? I mean, it's an all-in bet. You just keep going no matter what. The Wright brothers back in 1900 had the first flight. 60-odd years later, man was walking on the moon. 3D printing was developed 35 years ago. In the last 5 years in particular, it has been accepted by industry, which means it works. We have been fortunate enough over the last few months to be selected to trial the new technology.
Okay, big day for Mark. This is the first time that his digitally printed, simulated brain has been put in front of a high-profile surgeon. Plus, there's a heavy-hitting audience of politicians, surgeons, doctors in training, investors and partners. It's a huge day, and we've got access to the procedure. Come on.
This is our first time in surgery with our new neurosurgical trainer. We've been very lucky to have Professor Adam Wells here from the Royal Adelaide Hospital to dissect this trainer and hopefully give us some wonderful feedback so we can continue our improvement.
This must be nerve-wracking. What happens if Professor Wells doesn't endorse the product or support it?
You know, life goes on, but it will be disappointing.
And we have an audience today. Who's out there?
Well, we have quite a number of people in the audience, from Minister David Ridgway and a lot of medical professionals, surgeons, academics.
Wow, I'm nervous with you. Good luck, mate. We're behind you 100%.
Thanks, buddy. Let's go on and do some surgery.
Let's do it.
Okay, mate.
It's going to be wonderful for medical students learning neuroanatomy and practicing dissection. You could theoretically have a trainee under supervision by an educator, and we can say this model is a brain tumour of a certain type of brain tumour, and we want you to take it out. And they can be ticked off and say that they're competent in doing that.
Yeah. So ordinarily, doctor, you'd have to wait for that condition to literally come along.
It's true, and a lot of the common conditions come along very commonly and very frequently, but some things that come across rarely that you might not see very often, absolutely. I'm going to lift that off. Go to the specimen pot.
So, doctor, what's your verdict?
Look, as a training model, I think it's fantastic, but some of the realism is still a little bit lacking. But I think as an early model, this is very encouraging.
David, this is a big day for Mark. This must make you proud. An industry first, a world first, perhaps, in Adelaide.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, it's wonderful that we've got homegrown experts that can deliver world-leading technology. We think there's some great benefits for our economy, but also great benefits for mankind globally as well.
Mark,
Yep.
an emotional moment. Talk to us. How are you feeling?
Sorry, mate.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's emotional. You know, 3 years of R&D, getting to this point, mate. It's great.
The anatomy was highly accurate. Some of the tissue work, though, it's a bit rubbery still.
Yes,
particularly the brain. The brain really needs to be quite mushy. It needs to respond to electricity.
This is a natural step in the innovation process. You're getting first-hand feedback from those who will benefit from this innovation.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we can't do this without the surgeons and without the medical community. At the end of the day, we're a manufacturing company, and we need to know the nuances of the anatomy, and these people can provide us with that.
Hey, mate, what are we celebrating?
Well, if you remember when I was in Minnesota a couple of weeks ago,
Yes.
unfortunately the director couldn't see me.
That's right.
He was in San Francisco.
Yep.
So, 2 days later, I was in LAX flying out, and I got the phone call, mate. So we had some good news. So
And what's the news?
it looks like they're going to push forward with the deal.
Congratulations.
Thank you, buddy.
That's
very much.
wonderful
Yeah,
news.
we're pretty happy about it. So I thought I'd bring the team out and have a beer with them.
So this is your first major sale?
Yes, mate.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what sort of money are we talking about?
Considerable amount of money. There's.
Come on, you can tell us.
Well, we're looking around 1.5 for the first one.
That is fantastic,
Yeah,
mate. Good
thanks,
for
buddy.
you.
Thanks, buddy.
Good for the team, and many congratulations.
Thank you very much, mate.
You know what? You deserve it.
Thanks, bud.
Come here, give us.
Oh, God.
Cheers! Congratulations, guys. Cheers.
Well done.
These are the moments that drive entrepreneurs. Having spent a few days with Mark, I'm not surprised at his back. I think we're seeing a small company about to make a massive impact.